Donald Trump. President-elect Donald Trump. Well, he's wielding his strong arm. Yes, he's using strong-arm tactics with his tiny hands. Well, you see, he's threatening the European Union. Again. Yes, we've been there before, that we have. But it might naturally go his way. I'll explain. But would you be most kind and boop the old like button and maybe subscribe to the channel? And maybe that little bell icon just there somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, because then you get one fuzzy thing in your pocket every time I upload another video. And if you've got a sport channel, you can do it on Patreon, or you can buy us a coffee, and the links are down below. And it is very much appreciated. It really, really is. You might even feed a dog one or two. You might. Where they gone? Oh, traitors. Anyway. So what has Donald Trump been saying? Well, he's been threatening the European Union to buy more oil and gas or face tariffs. It's a beautiful word, he says. It's beautiful. Well, what can you say? What can you say? So it's true that President-elect Donald Trump is now threatening the European Union for a second time. Well, probably multiple times, but, for a second term. He's not even in office yet, and he's already started wielding that strong arm of his. Yeah, he likes strong men, doesn't he? Because he's what a strong man ought to be, isn't he? So anyway, he's been threatening the EU, okay? So, now, what do I mean about it might go his way? I'll explain in a moment. But the US President-elect Donald Trump has warned that the EU that it will face trade tariffs on its exports to the United States unless its member states buy more American oil and gas. Well, we currently get quite a bit from Qatar, you see. That we do. Now, Trump reignited affairs of a looming trade war between the US and the EU in his first public statement regarding trade since he was elected, president-elect in November. He says, I told the European Union that they must make up their tremendous deficit with the United States by the large-scale purchase of our oil and gas and all that, Otherwise, it's tariffs all the way. Yeah, you remember that? He said that, tariffs, that word tariff is a beautiful word, it is, he said. That's what he said, yeah. No, this is what he said on his Truth Social. Anyway, whatever it's called. Whenever you got to say it's Truth Social, you can pretty much guarantee there's no truth there. But Donald Trump has precedents for this, threatening, and that's what he's been doing a lot of recently, is threatening pretty much everyone, really. In this case, the European Union. But there's some nuance there, and there's also it's also a bit more complicated than that. Now, the European Union currently has a deficit with the United States. That's true. We sell 131 billion more than we buy from the United States. So we sell into the United States 131 billion more than than we buy from the United States. Yeah, that was back in 2022. So yeah, he is right. There is a deficit, but the is we do about 1.3 trillion in trade during 2022. That's what we did then. But there's going to be fluctuations in it, and there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. And at the end of the day, do we really want to be buying oversized cars? Do we really want to be buying Cybertrucks? No, because they're lethal and dangerous. And it looks like something that a 12-year-old is designed on Minecraft or something like that. It's the most ridiculous looking car. And they don't, that particular Tesla Cybertruck does not come under the European safety. It just doesn't, because it's just all the sharp corners everywhere, you see. So they can't import them here. Now, there was a couple imported here, and they managed to get them registered here in the EU, but they got deregistered in the end, because they just don't comply. They're not allowed on our roads, because they're dangerous. Cybertrucks are dangerous. If you get hit by one of them, you're dead. Plain and simple. You're done. No. It's like being hit by the corner of a brick being thrown at your head. If you know what I mean, that's not a great idea, is it? No. So, there are tariffs on the way if Donald Trump gets his way. Now, we've been there before, because back in, oh, crikey, when was that now? That was 2018. He was threatening us in the EU before. And Claude Juncker, I remember now, Jean-Claude Juncker, when he was accused of being drunk, but I don't know if he was, actually he probably was. But anyway, that was back in 2018. He did agree to buy billions of dollars worth of American exports, including natural gas, LNG, which worked out quite well in the end. Actually, we ended up buying more and more and more because of the war in Ukraine. So it kind of worked out for us. But and this was all after the EU threatened to target the US exports, including Harley Davidson and Levi's, and Kentucky bourbon whiskey. If the US pushed ahead with these punitive tariffs. So there's like this tit for tat going on. That's what happens. It's like what's gone on between the United States and Canada and Mexico. There's always going to be tit for tat. He thinks he can use this strong arm tactic with the tariffs, but it's nobody wins in the end. It just becomes punitive. It doesn't work. It might be to a degree, but it depends on what you're trying to sell. If you've got products that are that someone's trying to import into your country and you already make that product, maybe it's a good idea to put a tariff on it so you don't damage your internal trade. But it might go Trump's way anyway. And the reason for that is, well, let me bring it up there. Allow me to show you that. Now, this is the corporate sustainability due diligence. And it's about fostering sustainability and responsible corporate behaviour for a just transition towards a sustainable economy. It's all about human rights and all that sort of stuff as well. And currently we buy a lot of gas from Qatar. Now, Qatar has warned that it will halt gas supplies to Europe if fined under the EU due diligence laws. A 5% fine on turnover of the company. So not just on the gas that's supplied to the EU, basically all their gas. That's a lot of money. Yeah, any trade that business does, basically, it would end up at 5% fine. That would be rather considerable. Now, the Qatari Energy Minister Saad Sherida al-Kaabi, he said basically we will not supply the gas. We will just stop, because we don't want to spend or pay or lose 5% of our money, effectively, come out the profits from it. So yes, Qatar warned that it will cease gas exports to the European Union if the bloc's countries impose penalties under recently adopted legislation on sustainability due diligence. And Qatari Energy Minister Saad told the Financial Times the EU's Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, which entered into force in July, allows for up to fines of 5% of the company's annual global revenue. So, like I say, not just into the EU. If the management fails to address adverse human rights or environmental impacts. Now, we're talking about Qatar, for Christ's sake. Flippin' hell. They don't mind murdering the occasional, do they? You know, they don't mind. No. They don't like dissent, do they? No. So yeah, they'll be constantly getting 5% fines. They will. You know, they haven't got the best record for human rights. So the thing is, though, you see, if, for instance, Donald Trump gets his way and we end up buying more US more US oil and gas from the US, into the EU, I'll get my worms out in a minute. You in the United States will pay more. Now, since this agreement has been in place, US citizens have actually been paying an extra 30-odd% on top of their gas prices in the US since this has been in place. Since you've been exporting your gas to the EU, it's been costing you, the American citizens, an extra 30% to buy their gas. And that's partly because the US don't produce enough gas. So where's the gas coming from? It's coming from Canada. And who else has Donald Trump decided to put tariffs on when he comes into power? Canada. Oil and gas from Canada. Needs to say, you're going to be paying over the odds. It's pushing up your gas prices in the United States because Donald Trump, being a petulant child and thinks he can just use a strong arm tactic, it's going to benefit the United States. It might benefit the coffers, as in the Treasury, but you, because obviously the more, go back to the Treasury again, the more the Treasury actually takes in taxes because the cost of fuel is higher, well then quite frankly the more they're going to gather, aren't they? They're going to accrue more monies. But you're going to be paying part of that in the United States. You'll be paying that additional 30%, which could end up 35%, for instance. Because the more that gets sent to the EU, you are going to have to buy more from Canada at a higher price. It's not rocket science. I know it is for Donald Trump, because he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. No. Got a lot upstairs. He doesn't think that deeply. He's not a chess player. I am. I love playing chess. But he is not a chess player. No. Oh, flipping idiots. Who the heck votes for somebody like Donald Trump? I just couldn't. Actually, no. Yeah. MAGA. I'll say no more. Flippin' hell. Flippin' hell. Oh, yeah, stupid is as stupid does. Anyway. Was that clear enough for you? Please leave it in the comments down below. Oh, dear. If you want to support Jane, do it on Patreon and buy us a coffee. The links below as well. I'm fed up with stupid people. I've had enough. I'll pull out my flipping arrow. Oh, actually, I've still got a little bit left. Oh, blimey.